everyone, and welcome to another Tinfoil Spotlight. How's everyone doing? Hope you're having a good weekend so far. Oh boy, today's gonna be something. So today we're gonna be looking at Candace Owens. Recently, since Charlie Kirk's death, she's gone down the rabbit hole of extreme conspiracy theories. So we're gonna watch some of her videos. The color's a little weird. The Velma outfit always fucks up the color of the stream. Very weird. Should be fine. Anyway, so yeah, that's what we're gonna do today. No big intro or anything. It's just gonna be real stupid. Rick M with 100 bits says, going to protest in 5 minutes. Be safe. Hope you have a good time. Dr. Worm with 54 months. Lilac Rosenberg says, I wanted to buy you a harp. Merch is a joke, but they don't sell it anymore. Sad face. Thanks for the thought, though. Anyway, my camera might not like orange. Yeah, I guess. So let's see. It's last day of the month. I'm still doing a promo, so gift subs of 5 or more are 35% off if you're interested in helping support the stream. Other than that, you can always use bits, subs, super chats, whatever if you want to support the stream. Make sure you like the stream on YouTube. It helps a lot, and I think we can just jump into it. I think we can just go. I don't really have any intro to this. Okay. Sweet Lily Love with 100 bits says, starting the train, choo choo, thank you, we're on a hype train. You can use bits or subs if you want to help out the hype train.
All right, you guys, happy Wednesday. I'd like to begin today's episode with a little bit of feedback for the deep state, the deep globalized state.
Are we gonna do bingo? Hold on, let me clear the bingo card. Let's give it a shot. I don't know how widespread her conspiracy beliefs are. So I don't know if we'll get a bingo or even many spaces. But let's see. The deep state she just said, so that's a space, and I'll remove the others. Yeah, get your bingo cards if you'd like. Again, I don't know how prolific her conspiracy, beliefs are in terms of, how widespread, how many different things, but we can try. Magos Informaticus, thanks for 23 months. Appreciate the subscription.
All you guys had to do was to keep the cornucopia. We may have even let you rule over us forever. We have never woken up to anything. That's my theory, okay? It was all well and good until you guys tried to convince us that Fruit of the Loom never had a cornucopia.
Mandela effect. Okay, we're doing the Mandela effect.
Right. There was one. We all know that. By the way, if you're watching this and you don't know that, I want nothing to do with you. You're in the wrong timeline. We are not in the same timeline. Today is going to be a very interesting episode.
Okay. She's this far gone. All right. I didn't know she was gone this far. Oh boy. Yikeritos. We're in a different timeline. Steve with a Q, thanks for gifting 5 tier 1 subs in this timeline. I really appreciate it. And getting us over level 1 of the hype train. Getting us over level 2 of the hype train.
Definitely philosophical, meta, because I don't think I will ever get over the fact that Charlie Kirk knew that he was going to die young. And
what?
I am starting to believe that so did the agents that surrounded him throughout his entire life. Let's jump right back in. Welcome back to Candace.
What agents? What are you talking about? What? Oh, creepy intro. Okay. She is 100% not okay. Apparently, Terradona, or thank you, Terradona, for the bits.
Everyone in the chat right now saying, yup, it had a cornucopia. I knew.
Okay, I need to point out, I am of two minds about all of this Candace Owens stuff, because on the one hand, Turning Point USA is an awful organization, and everyone who works there, it's kind of funny seeing them get harassed by crazy conspiracy theorists, because frankly, they're just the fucking worst. So, it's a little cathartic seeing some of the crazy bounce back onto them, you know? But on the other hand, Candace Owens has almost 6 million subscribers. This video has 1.5 million views, and she is actively spreading conspiracy theory and riling up a huge Republican base. That's not good. That is very not good. Mainstreaming these conspiracies is a red flag. The sirens should be going up. This is terrible. It's a little funny, though. Fenry with 100 bits says, choo choo, all aboard the crazy train. And Moira Soma with 57 months at tier 2. Thank you. 70% to level 3 on the hype train.
You guys were my people. I want to start by saying that the way
it's still a profitable grift, I guess.
I feel, the way that I think a lot of you feel, the vibes that are surrounding us right now is that the deep state is in some sort of a panic, right? We've acknowledged that over and over again on the show. Something does.
The evidence for that is absolutely nothing other than she wants it to be the case, I guess. Puka, thanks for 500 bits, 94% to level 3.
Doesn't feel quite right. It feels almost like we are at the beginning of the end of a long satanic run.
Satanic on the bingo card.
That's why, just so you guys know, despite the obviously sobering reality that the world is run by these people, I'm pretty optimistic every day. I can't explain it. I don't know why. Things are obviously coming apart, but like things have to come apart before they can be put back together. And they're just getting sloppy. And if I could put it into a sentence, I would say that it's almost as if our awareness is the threat, right? Awareness, just our being conscious of what they are doing, somehow spells their doom, which is bringing me to wanting to discuss today, as I promised you, the CIA's Looking Glass project. Now, we briefly touched upon this at the end of last episode. Obviously, I'm a conspiracy girly, and I'm thrilled that we get to dive a little bit deeper on this topic for those of you that don't know. The first thing that I want to remind you guys is exactly what I said at the top of the show. It is an absolute fact that Charlie Kirk thought that he was a time traveler. He told me he was a time traveler repeatedly.
What? There's no way Charlie Kirk told you he was a time traveler. What are you talking about? I have no respect for Charlie Kirk, and even I don't think he was that crazy. What are you talking about?
I showed you guys that text message exchange. I said to him in response that I didn't feel the same way and that I thought I was from another planet, that I was an alien my entire life. Just do not get it here. This planet is ghetto. That's
okay. So is he speaking metaphorically, like he feels out of place? Because that's a very different thing than literally claiming you're a time traveler.
how I feel. I don't understand it. The rules don't make sense. I think that's also why I like cats so much. I feel that they can relate to that. They think humanity is ghetto. They don't want to be around us. They don't like us. They know it's ghetto. It is ghetto here, right?
What?
Well, another bizarre fact is that back when Charlie and I were running around, we met in 2017, top of 2018. So I would say, obviously, Turning Point was an organization, but it wasn't the organization. It wasn't this behemoth of an organization that it became. No, he had no real degree of fame. I think that's fair. But he was required to have security on him at all times. That was orchestrated. His security,
Thanks for the hype
security
train.
was orchestrated by Bill Montgomery. He has since passed, the late Bill Montgomery, and he...
Haley, with 15 months of membership on YouTube, says, my old coal worker, line cook, thought Candace should run for president. He thought vaccines were poison, and they hid the car engine that runs on water. Oh, boy. Isn't it great living amongst everyone who's crazy? Everyone's crazy. Different degrees, but everyone's crazy.
He was...
I hate it.
From the military. One of
The human brain was a mistake. I wish we had been like jellyfish or something. Something much more automatic. Conscious thought is a maladaptive evolutionary dead end.
He founded Turning Point USA with Charlie. Charlie wanted to go to West Point and then instead started Turning Point USA when he was 18 years old. Thinking about that, the security, him texting saying, I'm not allowed to go anywhere, I feel so important, I think was the exact message. That, to me, is objectively weird in retrospect. Wasn't weird at the time, it's weird now. And it makes me think that Charlie may have been marked since he was a child. We've discussed these GATE programs that they have in school. And I just think on the basis of what he told me, that when he was really young, they wanted to drug him, but his mother said no, and he was really grateful for that. And instead, they decided that they could send him to this X-Men school. That's the best way I can describe it. I would certainly, by the way, for you internet sleuths, I'd like to find out which school Charlie had to attend. So he was pulled out of the regular school he was attending, and he had to go to some special school for the gifted, like he was an X-Man.
Wait, is her only frame of reference for a gifted school Charles Xavier's School for the Gifted, or whatever the fuck it's called? There are gifted schools in real life. that have nothing to do with mutant powers or secrets. It's literally just, like, for smarter kids or rich kids.
And I am of the opinion, it's an opinion, I'm allowed to have it, it's obviously not a fact, but I am of the opinion, based on the discussions I had with him, that he's been monitored since. That his test score...
When your only defense for your belief is that it's not illegal for you to have it, I think your opinion's probably dog shit.
Or whatever the score, every test they probably did on him, he was off the charts, and they wanted to make sure that he was being watched. That's my theory in general on all kids that are in extraordinary and gate-type programs. Maybe we should be training our kids to get like an 85% on the test. At most, before the government agents are going to swoop in and go, who is this genius child, you know? And a lot of weird things used to happen to Charlie. He would go on runs. I think I told you guys this, after sundown. And when he was running, street lights would go out. Like it was like he was in a burst of energy, like he was a lightning bolt or something. So,
oh no, she actually thinks he has X-Man powers.
So, to slow this down for you, there are, just in general, all of these inexplicable experiences that we have in life. And they try to make it weird for us to discuss them.
I don't think anyone's trying to make it weird. I think you're making it weird. You're doing a great job all on your own, Candace.
Just even being philosophical and thinking about these things for a long time, they don't want that. Deja vu is probably chief among them. We all have experienced deja vu. We are certain something happened, that we already did that, but it didn't actually happen. You're like, but I feel like it did. Oof, I just got a bad case of deja vu. Well, guess what? There's no official expert explanation for that. Sleep paralysis, for those of us who suffer that, I had some terrifying experiences before I knew what it was. They don't really give us a full explanation for that.
Maybe we don't have one. Do you think we have an explanation for every single mental phenomena? We don't understand the brain very well at this point.
Also, another example.
It's not a conspiracy that we don't have an answer. We don't have answers to all sorts of questions.
Of things that are inexplicable and maybe somehow related to deja vu. The story of how I met my husband. I've told it many times. How I got engaged 18 days later. No one believes me. They don't want to accept it, except maybe Charlie Kirk, because he was there for it. But I already knew George. That's how I describe it. I saw his face. I know that doesn't make sense, but it happened that way. I looked at my husband's face and I already knew him. It was like a sigh of relief. And yeah, there's other explicable events and things like Charlie telling me that he was going to die young. Anyway, today...
Maybe he was depressed?
We are going to be showing you clips from a YouTube channel called Be Inspired. We're going to link it in the comments as well, because they did such a fantastic job of diving into these phenomena and how they likely relate to another shady government CIA program, which came to be known as Project Looking Glass. This actually happened. These were whistleblowers that came out, like with all of these projects, people that are in the military, scientists coming out and saying, hey, government has this technology and they can peer into the future. I'm sorry, what? What does that mean? Anyways, the narrator of this channel, who I could not find his name to save my life because there's multiple people that work this channel, but he begins by taking us back to the Y2K scare. You guys remember that? Of course, you remember the Y2K scare. I was actually scared. I was young.
For the last time, the Y2K bug was a real problem, and it was averted because countless programmers worked around the clock to fix it. That was a serious issue that would have been a problem if we all stood around and did nothing, but they took proactive action and prevented the issue.
I was like, oh my gosh, I just don't want to die like this. I don't want to die just because it's midnight and it's the year 2000 and they were just kind of pumping all this fear into us.
Yeah, I believe sci-fi tech exists on the bingo cards.
Anyway.
Let me actually get that. I want to get them as we go.
Let's jump right into this clip.
Let's start with Y2K. In the final months of 1999, there was a global concern that computer systems would fail when the date switched to the year 2000. All the software used only 2 digits to record years, so 2 nils might be read as 1900, potentially disrupting banks,
credit cards, and ATMs may cease to function.
power grids, airlines,
Airplanes and trains may come to a halt.
governments and corporations spent over $300 billion updating systems. It was one of the largest coordinated tech efforts in history. People stocked food, withdrew cash, and prepared for the worst. But when midnight came, almost nothing happened. The system
Because of the billions of dollars invested in fixing the problem. Why are people stupid? Why are people so stupid?
systems held, the world moved on.
Well, we spent a bunch of money to fix the problem, and then the problem was fixed. We shouldn't have even bothered. Fucking idiots.
Still, that global moment left an imprint. Some view it as a psychological turning point, the end of the analog age and the quiet beginning of a fully digital world. From that point on, life accelerated. Culture, communication, and consciousness shifted onto screens, fast, constant, and increasingly disconnected from physical time. Some researchers believe Y2K wasn't about a bug at all, but a kind of global psychological reset, a ritual of fear, distraction, and silence. The code may not have
That doesn't even mean anything.
crashed, but something else may have been triggered. Our perception of time and reality. After something strange started happening online, people began noticing memories that didn't match reality. The most famous? The Berenstain Bears. Millions remember it as Berenstain
This is just fucking. This is like milquetoast Mandela effect bullshit.
with an E. But every book says Berenstain with an A, and that's just the beginning.
If you're running a simulation and you go back and you change some variables and you rerun the simulation, lots of little things could be different.
Can I say I hate human beings? Can I say I hate being a human being? Existence is awful.
Along the way.
I'm so tired of being around these people. I don't want to be here anymore.
You have many different possible paths.
You have glitches in the matrix.
Exactly. You're now on this timeline, but you remember. You have like a deja vu, or you have like a weird memory.
Movie quotes, logos, product names, all different than we remember. Entire groups of people swearing something changed with no explanation. It became known as the Mandela effect, named after people who remembered Nelson Mandela dying in prison years before he actually did. What
Yeah, we should listen to the historically illiterate people. That's real smart.
could cause something like this?
Are you familiar with the Mandela effect? Yeah. Of
course.
Millions of people remember certain events that never happened. And so how do you explain that? As we go through our conscious progression, as we raise consciousness, the way we perceive the world, and therefore all that will exist in our world, will morph to that new resonance as a sympathetic resonance. So certain aspects of the old world will just no longer exist. And so we can still have a phantom memory of those experiences, whether it's like Jiffy peanut butter or Luke, I am your father, which he never said that, right? All these things like that.
That's just a cultural thing. It's like, beam me up, Scotty. Kirk never actually specifically said those words in that order.
That literally
It becomes shorthand for some concept or phrase everyone knows, but it works out of context. Because in the movie, Darth Vader says, "No, I am your father," but out of context, "No, I am your father" doesn't make a lot of sense. So culturally, it got shifted to "Luke, I am your father" to give context to the exchange. It's not a conspiracy. This happens all the time.
just like fall out of your
Jessica, the Mandela effect is not crazy. It's people misremembering things.
new frequency.
It's not a thing. It's people misremembering things and then thinking that they're so smart they couldn't possibly misremember things, which is crazy because that's not even a matter of intelligence. We just have stupid brains.
Because everything in your world around you, including time itself, is retrocausal. The world around you that is no longer fitting your frequency will disintegrate and dissolve.
Okay, so I'm not trying to start a world war in the comment section today, but Pikachu had black at the end of his tail. Obviously, I don't know when they hit delete on that button, but he definitely had black at the end of his tail. Some of these things just don't make any sense to me, and it's just amazing that we just sort of accept it and we just keep moving on. And when you start asking questions, they try to paint you with, no, don't ask the questions, just keep going on. Let's just pretend. Let's just pretend that, there was no cornucopia. Anyways, this brings us obviously to the CIA's project Looking Glass. Essentially, there were these whistleblowers, like I told you, in the military and within the CIA apparatus that came forward to reveal that the deep state had a technology, which they stole, of course. Please do not miss the part that I keep explaining to you. These people are not smarter than you. They're just more evil. They steal, they plunder, and they steal things, and then they rewrite history and pretend that they were geniuses. Anyways, they have a knack for murder, they have a knack for theft, and...
No, Ash's Pikachu isn't a girl. Girl Pikachus have a heart at the end of their tail. Pikachu's a boy.
And this time, just like a lot of times before, they stole a device from the ancient Sumerian civilization that's located in modern-day Iraq. Very advanced civilization. They're obsessed also with Egyptian civilization, as we discussed yesterday. The Satanists kind of taking and reintroducing these things. First, they keep them to themselves. They hoard these things, and then they kind of give us certain aspects of technology as time goes on. So they steal this piece of technology, and they incorporate it into a computer, and suddenly they're apparently able to predict future outcomes. Just imagine the deep state.
There are too many variables in the world unaccounted for to ever be able to have something that can figure out the future, practically speaking. There's too many, like, weird shit going on that you can't account for. It's total horse shit. Even if you did have all the information available, how would you have an algorithm that knows how everything works and make predictions based on that? It doesn't make sense.
Being able to look...
I did know that, Ashley.
Look into a glass, so to speak. The Sumerian culture was known for their advancement in glass, and to see different outcomes. I mean, the amount of power that you would have, and then also fathom in your mind that the people that are Satanists have this power. Take a listen.
This is where things take a turn.
I think every person that literally thinks the world is run by Satanists should be locked in a mental institution until they can be treated. Because this shit is crazy.
Because according to Bill Wood, a former Navy
Fun fact, some people in charge of the government believe this, so we're doing great.
SEAL with high-level
Can you tell I'm stressed out? I'm very stressed out.
clearance,
I don't want to be here.
the US military
And by
once
here, I mean Earth.
had access to a device called Project Looking Glass, a technology that could supposedly view potential future timelines.
The project was shut down because there was a problem when we approached 2012. The timelines converge on that point in time. When you know how string theory works and how
Oh, fuck off! Yeah, Mr. Expert on string theory.
possibility of possibilities works and how
Which, by the way, isn't even a popular theory these days.
making one choice over here doesn't necessarily mean that the other choice couldn't exist at the same time. But once you get your brain wrapped around this subject, you find out that at the end of 2012, in an easy way to put it, the choices that we make become less and less consequential to the future. And eventually, we're pushed into this bottleneck of time, no matter which choice we make.
Okay, so is that certainly 2012 in your understanding?
It's well coincides with December 21st, 2012.
So at that point, all possibilities lead to the same
Timelines.
Rubicon.
All possible timelines lead to the same basic set of history in the future.
And after that, they shut it all down. Now ask yourself, why would a system like that be buried, and what exactly did they see? Because this isn't just about false memories or tech. It might explain why everything since 1999 feels frozen and artificial, like we're on rails in a version of reality that wasn't meant to last this long. And
Vibes-based conspiracy on the bingo card? That's such a strange subjective feeling that you're having that you've decided is an objective fact of reality.
if you think that's wild, wait until you hear what else Looking Glass may have revealed. So what exactly did they see with Looking Glass? According to multiple whistleblowers, including Bill Wood and other
This random guy who pretends he knows things about string theory, definitely not a grifter.
interviewed by Project Camelot, every time they ran the device, no matter what variables they changed, all future timelines converged to a single fixed point. That point, somewhere between 2012 and 2016. After that, the future became unpredictable. No more branching outcomes, just a wall.
So it's super interesting that they couldn't see beyond 2012, or rather,
Can we add Matrix because the world paused at 99? No, that's not close enough. I know that's a thing that happens in the Matrix, but you can't just say, well, that's a thing that happened in the movie, so.
they could see beyond 2012, but maybe things became
I'm
inevitable.
deepening my voice now, too. That's great. My mental health is awesome.
That was backed up, by the way, by a lot of different things. Mayan civilization, the calendar. Remember that whole scare? Why doesn't the calendar go beyond? So you arrive at this point and you wonder.
If you still don't understand that at this point, why are you even talking about it? That's been explained.
What is this, right? Suddenly, these people who are evil are no longer allowed or able to control outcomes, essentially.
Yeah, ancient wisdom for the Mayan.
Or perhaps, so maybe they did see something beyond 2012. But no matter what they did, they couldn't change the outcome of that thing that they saw beyond 2012. So it wasn't so much the future couldn't be predicted, but rather that they couldn't change it, like something was coming. That's how it kind of feels to me when I just examine everything that's going on. There is this panic, like evil is panicking right now, and they're making a lot of mistakes because they're no longer in control. And I would also add here that one of the things that I've noticed is that they're trying to turn us all, again, maybe this is their solution, where they're going, okay.
Have I seen 2012? No, I don't really like Roland Emmerich films.
What are we going to do? We can't change the outcome. Maybe we can just turn everybody into a computer program, like they want us all to
Stargate. Stargate was okay.
Be the same. They seem to get really angry when we behave like humans. Like that's one of the things they're trying to triumph is our humanity. We've talked about this a lot with the Charlie Kirk story, the reaction, how we felt icky, but they were like, what's wrong with you? How dare you feel icky? How dare you not like this? Don't you know this is what he would want? It's like their inability to defeat our humanity is angering to them. Now, something that was crucial, which was revealed about Project Looking Glass, was that the people who were in the room while this device was being operated, their conscious thoughts impacted the
Am I looking forward to the new SG-1 series? I'll wait to hear how it is. I'm enjoying SG-1, but
device, okay?
I got a lot of SG-1 to get through before I can even think about watching a new series. Chitara says, this is like those people who speculate with alt history. There are so many variables that have led to the outcomes that we did have, and the only reason we can even speculate is because we've got decades or centuries of hindsight to say, well, that could have done this differently. I'm sure if the folks in the past knew that, they would have.
Just imagine this. What they were thinking in the moment was changing future outcomes. Thoughts influenced future outcomes. That piece is super relevant to what we're going to discuss. And obviously that's pretty reminiscent of one of the themes of The Matrix. I just am going to assume everybody's seen that movie. If not, you should watch it because it was way ahead of its time.
Okay, she said The Matrix now. Now The Matrix on the bingo card.
And he is going to connect that dot here. Take a listen.
So what exactly did Project Looking Glass revealed, and why was it quietly shut down? The people involved...
Oh, let me get it on the bingo card real quick. I don't remember where The Matrix is. 27.
Began noticing something strange. No matter what variables they used, the results kept showing the same future. A point where all possible timelines seemed to merge. That moment, somewhere between 2012 and 2016. After that, everything became unclear, like the future couldn't be read anymore. This brings us back to 1999. A year that might have marked more than just the
Can we use bad parenting for this girl's parents? You mean Candace Owens? No, you can't just use bad parenting every time someone's a nutbag. Midnight, thanks for 6 months, says, we will get to the truth.
Of a century.
The truth is I'm sleepy and would like to sleep for the rest of my life.
It's also when The Matrix was released. At the time, it was seen as just another sci-fi movie, but looking back, it feels like something more.
You've been living in a dream world, Neo.
The film introduced a powerful idea, that the world we experience might not be what it seems. But
I'm pretty sure Dark City did it first.
Reality could be shaped or even simulated without us knowing. And once you start asking...
I want to point out also, as much as I do like The Matrix, I like The Matrix fine, although I do like Dark City better. It's not an original idea. The idea that the world is like a fantasy and that in reality there's something outside of it is a pretty old philosophical concept. The earliest one I know is Plato's cave allegory, but it might even predate that. I don't know.
Asking questions, things begin to change. That idea resonates deeply with what many have felt since the early 2000s. The time feels different, that the future doesn't feel open the way it once did. Almost like things are repeating themselves, the same cycles, the same events, showing up again and again. Some people
Are you literally just showing fashion that's only vaguely similar to say that? Fashion is cyclical to some extent. That's expected. That's not a conspiracy thing. That's a human taste thing.
even report seeing repeating numbers everywhere, like 1111, 222, 444, almost like little glitches or signals hidden in everyday life. And strangely enough, this idea of patterns repeating, of cycles you can't escape, lines up with what Looking Glass operators allegedly encountered. The sensation that the future was already written and that all paths lead to the same outcome. Fast forward to 2012, some whistleblowers claim that a confidential briefing took place.
Again, I like it's just the same guy. This entire conspiracy is predicated on this one asshole.
Where certain agents
No one ever lies for attention or to sell books. Don't they, Candace?
acknowledge the shift, a kind of convergence in human potential. This document, released by the CIA, explores consciousness as something that can move through time, even outside
Hey, Phoenix, I'm bad.
of the physical world. It
Thanks
discusses
for asking.
remote viewing, timelines, and the nature of reality itself. Now, connect that to the Matrix, and the overlap becomes hard to ignore. Maybe it wasn't just a movie. Maybe it was the first time the system gave us a glimpse behind the curtain. And if that's
Yeah, that makes total sense. You want to hide a global secret, and then you're going to make a blockbuster movie that just tells everyone what you're doing. That's very smart. That makes total sense.
the case, what else have we been shown without realizing it?
Okay, a lot to unpack there. First, I'm going to say, just regarding the movie The Matrix, you should look into how even the script for The Matrix was stolen, allegedly. But
Oh, that's a bullshit thing. Yeah, I've looked into that. That's bullshit. A woman came forward and tried to claim that both Terminator and The Matrix ripped off her book. But there was no proof of her book existing until after The Matrix and Terminator came out. So she was a liar. But of course, Candace is going to latch onto that because it's yet another conspiracy. So,
to bring this back to my earlier point about all of these things that are happening or have happened that are seemingly inexplicable, it just lives inside of me that Charlie Kirk knew he was going to die. How? How was he so certain that he was going to die young? How is that possible? How was he even able
I mean, I'm not going to make it to old age, probably, based on my health. Like, I can know that and not have access to a time machine.
to describe it as this tragic event? How did he know? How was he certain, by the way, as he said in those messages, that from the moment he signed onto the dotted line to begin Turning Point USA, he knew he was going to die. He knew his death was going to be related to Turning Point USA. That's not a coincidence, okay? It is completely
It's the biggest thing in his life. What else would he be killed about?
absurd
His terrible haircut?
to have people, well, I don't know, just, maybe just a coincidence. No, that's not a coincidence at all. Why did he know that I was going to defend him? Also, why did Charlie think he was a time traveler? He said, as I showed you in earlier messages, that he was a time traveler and he had to find me. Is that just something people are saying to their homies in text messages? And again, not any
Charlie's not the most normal dude, so I don't know if you should hold him up to the standard of most people.
thing that I would have placed so much emphasis on back when he was saying it, but it came to fruition. The other parts, he did die young. Why did he think that him dying young was necessary in order to change things? He did die young. It is related to Turning Point USA. In some
Chitara with 50 bits says, me if the world somehow turns out to be a simulation, or if it's flat, or both.
Shut up! Why would I give a damn what shape the motherfucking earth is? Why would I give a fuck about some shit like that? I will have no choice but to still live here and pay bitch-ass bills.
way or another, at the very least, we could all agree it's related to him speaking at a campus event for Turning Point USA. I'm totally occupied by this. I tell you, I read these messages and I'm going, what is this? What is reality, actually? And Charlie died. Yes, like I said, it was related to this organization. And I think we would all agree that his death and the manner that they did it changed the world in ways that I don't think we can fully realize.
I don't think it really did. Conservatives all circled the wagons and made a big deal out of it for like a week. But like, if you look at the Google trends for Charlie Kirk, they've gone back to where they used to be, if not lower than before he died. Like, I think they tried to make it a thing, and it wasn't really that much of a thing. I don't think the general public gives a shit, you know? They might be like, oh, that was a thing that happened, but I don't think it fundamentally changed anything. I think the biggest thing it changed is the rift in the right because of Candace Owens, who's been doing this conspiracy stuff. So if anything, it's just made a bunch of crazy conspiracy theorists start attacking Turning Point USA and Erica Kirk. By the way, did you guys see? I'll give Candace this. I think she helped leak some of those videos of Erica Kirk like 10 days after Charlie died, and she's like laughing and like talking about how much merch sales they did at the funeral. That's sick, man. Like, this isn't a conspiracy, but I just don't think she loved her husband at all. I don't think she gave a fuck. I think she was glad when he died because it gave her an opportunity to get some spotlight. Real sick stuff. That made my stomach churn. And I don't even like Charlie Kirk. I hate the guy, but like just the idea of someone so cynically like marrying someone for clout or just because and not caring when they die is so sick. That's so sick. It makes me think she's just like the worst kind of person. Evil.
Certainly not in a way that I can articulate. You just cannot pretend that all of this is one big unhappy coincidence. It's entirely plausible, I think plausible, that they knew something about Charlie. And that's why they had him.
Oh, you didn't hear about it? Yeah, that happened in like the last week. I think there was an audio and then video came out where they were on a call from Turning Point USA, and it was just disgusting. It was disgusting.
Marked and had him.
She didn't seem like she gave a fuck that her husband died a week ago. It was bad.
Monitored and had him likely followed since he was young, and maybe they thought, like the agents think, that if they swarmed him and they stayed with him and they pretended to be his friend, that ultimately they could control Charlie.
Huge Assel, thanks for 35 months with Prime, says, Hannah, Erica wasn't being happy in that video 10 days after her husband's brutal public death. It was 6 days. Oh, sorry, my bad.
And perhaps change an outcome. They could literally change an outcome related to Charlie. So
which stage of grief is merch sales?
For the first time in his life, because I do believe he was managed. I mean, I've already said I was handled. I didn't recognize that I had agents. And for the first time in his life, Charlie peeks his head up and starts to push back in a meaningful way. They couldn't stop him from becoming bigger. That seemed to be inevitable. But they panicked. They seem to have panicked.
I should also point out, I don't think Erica Kirk had anything to do with his death, because that's somewhere that Candace has gone with this and is conspiratorial. I think the guy that shot Charlie's the guy that shot Charlie. I just think his wife was a terrible, terrible person, just like he was, who cynically just wanted clout.
Right? I mean, this is just starting to happen within a year, when Charlie's going like, hey, man, I don't actually think this. I don't actually believe this. And then he goes, you know what? Take the money. Take the money out of the organization. And they panicked. They freaked out. And their solution was, no, just kill him. Just kill him. We can't have this. This is not something that we are prepared to happen. That outcome of Charlie unleashed, so to speak. And ironically, that seems to be the very thing, his assassination, that catalyzed what they feared most, losing control of Charlie. That's exactly what happened, and they catalyzed that. So it seems to me that right now we're in the midst of this. They keep doing these things that only catalyze what they're trying to stop, what they're trying to prevent. For example, even unrelatedly, but the Brigitte and Emmanuel Macron, they filed a...
For those that don't know, she's claiming that Macron's wife is secretly his dad that transitioned. So that's a whole thing.
Lawsuit. We have so much power. What are we going to do to stop this thing? She's getting into the story, is getting to the heart of evil and how the world is run, to figure out that Brigitte is born a man. What are we going to do? We're going to file a lawsuit. A lawsuit filing was a mistake, obviously. it was globally consequential, right? They wanted to stop it, and yet they spread it. Catastrophic to their aims. The more pressure they exert
Yeah, transphobia, transvestigation on the bingo
toward
card.
control, the more they spin out of it. Another example, lock them down at home. Make them wear a mask, right? Create COVID in a lab, make everybody sick.
Oh, of course she thinks COVID was created in a lab intentionally. Yikerinos.
Force them to get the jab. Evil is really fun that way until it accidentally awakens the entire world to how fraudulent Big Pharma is. Like, is this now everyone's going, is this just a factory of poison? Do these people hate, are they so evil? Have we just been giving our bodies over to quote unquote science?
Chemical fear mongering on the bingo card.
Now, going back to the Looking Glass and them shutting down this project and not being able to edit whatever it was, we obviously cannot know for certain what it is that they saw when they peered through into this Looking Glass. But I do have a general sense.
I believe it, but it's just shocking to me that she's taking like everything that guy said for granted. Yep, we're not going to question it at all. We're not going to be skeptical. We're literally just going to assume that one random guy saying shit years ago is absolutely true, and he's not a liar, and he's not crazy. It's nuts
that they're trying to edit its inevitability with ill-guided lawfare and warfare. And what I think is that our collective awareness is a threat. I think everybody peeking their heads up is making them increasingly more frantic. It's like they know we're barreling toward some foregone conclusion, and they have spent decades trying to stop that, trying to prevent that. And when I think about what it is, right, I just consider their general obsessions and their general triggers. They are positively obsessed with the Antichrist. I mean, like people like Peter Thiel, he's like going around giving interviews, asking about the Antichrist. That's kind of the entire drift, by the way, of the AI world. When I say I look at these people, I don't like their eyes. Something disturbs me. They mock that, take me out of a clip. Oh my gosh, I don't care. I have spiritual discernment. Something about the entire AI movement feels wrong. And
the fact that they're all cynical grifters, like, you can think that they're assholes. I think they're assholes with terrible end goals and frankly delusional mindsets, but they're not satanic. They're just evil people. Skipazoa says, isn't that how it works for conspiracy theorists? It's true because I want it to be. Yes, motivated thinking is a primary reason for conspiracy belief, unfortunately.
Come on. What, am I wrong? Am I wrong? Sam Altman, all of them. And they are, no, you can trust us. It's like they want us all to become automated so that we can be more easily controlled. What they're going to do, okay, we can't control the outcomes. Let's just control where we're at. Let's control every single person in the world and make everything AI so that if we want to, they won't discover history. We can just delete files entirely. Nobody will be reading books anymore. The kids will be stupid. We can just wipe history and entire civilizations with the push of a button. There'll be no more books.
Sure, accidentally based for saying Thiel and Altman are evil, sure.
And maybe I could say this is 1A, but they also seem to be similarly obsessed with trying to make everyone turn against Christ. I mean, that push over the last couple of years, Christ is...
What are you talking about? Have you seen the people in charge of the country? Half of them are fucking Christian fascists.
King is hateful. You shouldn't even be saying that. Why? That's a weird triggering that no one expected. No one should say that. It's anti-Semitic, whatever. Producing reports about Christ is king. Is that not just a waste of money? Why did they do that? Can we just revisit that? Why did they do that? They produced a report and brought in doctors to assert why Christ is king is wrong. That's weird, guys. And that's a triggering, by the way, that has been going on for a long time. It's the very reason they set about removing the Bible from the classroom, creating Hollywood in general, which was supposed to...
What? It's unconstitutional to teach a specific religion in school. I hope that holds.
Mirror Babylonian culture, training us to worship stars. They wanted to establish this neo-paganism. They also wanted to make it so that future generations would think atheism was cool. That was by and large successful. It was a period of time where I thought that atheism was cool. But why? Why this push? Well,
it's just a lack of belief, man. It doesn't have to be cool or not cool. It just kind of is.
Well, think the obvious answer is because they are certain, actually, that God is real. That's what they're fighting. They're fighting God at all times. They know he's real, and that should be refreshing to you. Like, God,
presuppositionalism.
God's obviously real, or would they be spending all this time trying to convince us that he wasn't? Right? Do you spend all of your time trying to convince people that this something is fiction? No, they're
Yeah, actually, there's a lot of crazy people. I do spend a lot of my time trying to convince people, or at least express on the internet, that crazy things people believe that aren't true aren't true. Yes, absolutely, people do that.
They're terrified of that. Or they're open Satanists, as we showed you guys yesterday. They're trying to foster a culture of demonic idolatry. Think about this. I lost a job in part for saying that pornography is a spiritual weapon against men, and that we needed to look into the history.
As we know, only men look at pornography ever.
Of pornography.
50 Shades of Grey was a big hit amongst men.
Huh? What that should signal to you is that their power relies on us being distracted, on us being focused on carnal desires, right? Entirely living of the flesh. Like Tim Dillon said, the amenities, the pool, the new restaurant. Oh, look, there's a new celebrity over here. Yeah, so the threat is us being aware that spiritual evil exists. That's what they're afraid of. It's why they insist on this constant stream of pornography, filthy music, all of it. Because if it is true, as it's been reported by various whistleblowers, that our thoughts could impact future events, then what would happen if we
by whistleblowers, she just means crazy people on the internet saying things.
All started focusing.
Yes, we have satanic on the bingo.
Focusing on goodness, eternal goodness, God. Yeah, I think that's the very reason that all of these demons seem to be thrashing right now. And yeah, I just wanted to dive into that project because I think we're all sensing a panic and it's real, but I also want you to know that it's good. I know it seems crazy. You're like, no, everybody's out of control. It feels like things are getting dangerous. Yeah, but it feels to me like it's the last squeals of a dying demon. And we're going to speak more about that, as well as CERN and what they discovered. We have to totally revisit that was happening at CERN just after a brief message from our sponsors. All right, you guys, new research is revealing...
Who's sponsoring her?
Something absolutely...
What crackpot thing?
Heartbreaking. More than 7 million American women suffer severe, long-lasting emotional distress after an abortion. They have grief.
Oh, it's like an anti-choice thing. Shocking. All right, let's skip past this shit.
Get faster. Trust every second. Personalized / Okay, so modern science kind of being run by Satanists. So obvious.
No, it's not, you crazy bitch. Oh my God.
Again, just go back and watch our episode on the moon landing and the rituals that they were doing.
Okay, we got to find the moon landing episode at some point now.
It's always been this way, and they're creating it because they want you to worship science. And that their ultimate test to see if they had succeeded in that, I feel like it was COVID, right? They stay inside, like they tried to make this a ritual, save lives. I mean, there was actually...
She is so dangerous. She needs to get banned off the internet. Like, you have no... Guys, I'm very concerned. The way she so easily, like, puts all this stuff out, and she looks less crazy than Alex Jones. She's putting out material as, if not crazier than Alex Jones, to a wide audience, and making it look less crazy. This is terrible. Like, I know we're laughing at this right now because it is absurd. This video has 1.5 million views. She has almost 6 million subscribers. This is not an insignificant number of people eating this shit up. This is terrible. This is indicative of major fucking problems that are not going to be solved in any of our lifetimes. Things are just gonna get worse until we're dead, at least. Doing great today.
Actually, a really good article in the Spectator UK regarding
KCP,
how they
thanks for following.
Tried to establish COVID to mirror a religion, the ritual of it, even having something you can wear, a mask to identify with one another. Anyway, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. Point being is that once you see that, you can't unsee it, that modern science is intentionally being created to conflict with God. And there are some really bizarre...
Ryan Cooper with a $5 super chat says, us modern scientists are actually Satanists. The whole Santa thing is a typo. And Lucas Dawn says, she has one of the largest podcasts in the country in the top 10. Oh, good. Great. Cool. Cool beans. Cool beans. Cool beans. Things are going to get so bad you can't even imagine. You're going to see horrors created by mankind that you cannot even believe before you die. It's going to be terrible.
Bizarre things that have happened, particularly, I would say, regarding CERN. What do you actually know about CERN? I'm going to bring Mark on to mansplain this. What CERN is and what they were involved in. And you guys kind of remember, we're trying to find the God particle. That was another push. Mark, jump on here and mansplain everything.
I'm happy to. And I just want to preface by saying I am not a particle physicist. So I'm...
Oh, okay. So everything you're about to say is a bunch of horse shit and you should get a real job.
I just use particle physics recreationally. I'm a high school dropout. This is all on my own.
A high school dropout studying particle physics in his spare time. I can't see how that could possibly go wrong. There's no way you'd be insane and come up with a bunch of misconceptions because you're a fucking high school dropout, you fucker.
But CERN was basically established in 1950.
The stupidest people in the country are thought leaders. We are fucked.
Before to research particle physics. There's something called the standard model of particle physics to kind of explain how
human beings disgust me.
Everything exists and what it's made out of to back up the Big Bang theory of creation. And one of the missing pieces was, how do particles that don't have mass attain mass out of nothing? And so in 1964, a group of scientists theorized that there's something called a Higgs boson. One of the scientists was named Peter Higgs, I believe. And so the search was on to find this particle. And so that's why CERN created the Large Hadron Collider, which is based in Geneva, Switzerland, and is a 17-mile tunnel underground, up to 600 feet underground in some places, where they shoot particles at subatomic particles at each other at a very high speed to try and break them apart to see what they're composed of. And so in 2012, they observed a reaction that's consistent with this particle that was theorized back in 1964 that some people were calling it the God particle, to explain how something can come from nothing and essentially try and erase God from the story of creation.
That is not the reason. They're just trying to figure out how particles gain mass.
Create a scientific explanation.
It has nothing to do with your God shit. That's you projecting. If you have a problem with new information and it makes you question your faith, that's a fucking you problem. It's not other people's problem to coddle your belief system and to never investigate things that might make you question it.
Of it.
So in short, exactly, they're trying to be God. This is like the next step for them. We're controlling humanity. We're controlling their minds. Like, what can we do? What's the next step? We need to become creators of things on Earth. That's all the way, by the way, you guys, part of my conspiracy, why I'm like, have 12 kids. It's because they want to even control birth. They want to control dying. Like, they're debating, oh, you should have, they always sell it as like, it's more freedom for you. No, it's more power for them. We're going to decide if you're allowed to be born. Everyone's going to eventually, in the future, need IVF, which puts them in a place of power. And then also, we're going to also tell you when you die, which is why they have now these pods, which is being debated. And where's the home of the pods, the death pods? Switzerland. Anyways, of course, the tunnel is underground. And it's interesting when you consider that they started searching for this particle when they realized, that's when the 70s is when they began this looking glass project, when they started, not the CIA's looking glass project, but when they first got this Sumerian technology hooked up with a computer. It's an interesting parallel, right? And I also wanted to tell you guys a little bit more about what happened with CERN, which I've always wondered about. It was a
Thulu Flower, thanks for 35 months at Tier 1, says the world is under no obligation to care or conform to your antiquated beliefs.
Big WTF moment with these elites, and you might recall this happening in 2016, but maybe you weren't awake yet. They quite literally got caught, and I think it was some worker that was walking around doing this nighttime ritual satanic ceremony. Gathered.
Oh, I've seen that. That was so funny.
Around the statue of Shiva. Interesting for those of you that are following our Becoming Brigitte series. in season 2, I went into Dionysus, the god of Amiens, which was from that town where weird things happen, and that's where both Brigitte and Emmanuel are from. Well, Shiva in the Hindu faith, if you look it up, this would be the nearest equivalent. Dionysus being like god of wine and revelry. Shiva would be the equivalent here. Anyway, they got caught literally in the middle of a satanic human sacrifice ritual. And I'm just going to read you this article verbatim because otherwise you won't believe me. Okay. This took place. CERN discovers satanic human sacrifice taking place at the Large Hadron Collider's grounds. Okay. A satanic human sacrifice, it reads, has been staged on the grounds of the European Organization for Nuclear Research, the home of the Large Hadron Collider. The footage shows which I'm going to show you guys, a cloaked group wearing long flowing black robes. One of them has on hiking boots underneath. They're seen walking around before a woman moves onto the floor and then is stabbed.
It's a prank, you moron.
The footage, then the person who's recording it, you're going to see the drop and they're like, what the heck happened? And they are obviously scared. So when they got caught with this, I want you to know they come out and they say, oh, that was a prank.
Yeah, you notice how there's no dead person? There's no one missing? That's because it was a prank because they didn't kill anyone, you idiot.
I'm sorry. It's a massive statue, as you're about to see. You're telling us that the leading scientists in the world decided to meet by the cloak of night to do a prank? And
that sounds very much like something scientists would do. Do you think scientists don't have a sense of humor? They're very aware that conspiracy theorists have all sorts of stupid conspiracy theories about their job. They're making fun of it.
Someone at the facility...
Yeah, poor understanding of Eastern philosophy and religion for the Shiva stupid
statement
bullshit.
Said the PR guy said they were taking their sense of humor too far by staging a satanic ritual. I'm sorry, is this an acceptable excuse? This is like when a pastor finds $300K behind a toilet. We're going to need a little bit more here. Is the woman still alive? We can't even tell if this was a fake stabbing in this.
Is there a dead body, Candace? No? Oh, okay.
Video.
Guess it wasn't a real stabbing.
The leading scientists of the world, and they admit, by the way, we're really concerned about security. We don't know how this video got out. It wasn't like this prank was intended for the world. Somebody who worked there recorded it, got it to a YouTuber who then published it. And their response was to say, that was a prank. Don't ask any more questions. Let's move on. And the media just backed him up. It was a prank. Yeah, so we're going to take a look at this ceremony, which again is taking place under a Hindu deity. And the spokesperson...
Fucking ridiculous how they treat other religions.
Confirmed it's real, and this person had no permission to record it, and there was obviously, therefore, had no permission to have it published. Take a look at this, and I'm going to have to talk through it in case some people are listening on audio, but you really should try to tap in and watch this on video as well. Okay, so it's a massive, massive statue. That's just to start. Are we bringing this in as a part of the prank? I don't know. There is a woman. There's a bunch of people that are in black robes, and some of them have hoods up. And then there's a woman that's wearing all white in the center of it, and they are now encircling this woman, and she's like laying flat on the floor as somebody is circling around her. I think he might be holding some fire, and then it looks like she gets stabbed. I'd like to know where that woman is today. If this was a prank, you then hear heavy breathing and you hear a guy saying F, 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 F. Doesn't seem like it was a prank to him. He didn't think it was a prank, and we just...
Are you familiar with the concept of acting?
Moved on. We just absolutely...
Because that was very much someone acting.
We moved on from that, which is incredible. It's incredible to consider that.
Orion says, it was actually the goddamn particle because it was so goddamn hard to find. Journalists shortened it to god particle because damn was a naughty word.
As a society, we have been so distracted that we were like, oh yeah, I guess that's fine. It was just a prank or whatever. Anyways, like I said, it feels like evil is becoming more radical, more obvious, and more noticeable to most of us who had never considered that any of this was possible. And a part of that is just recognizing how fake the media is, And this brings me to Daily Wire, Unhinged. I don't even know what to say. They have dropped another video that kind of, if I'm being honest, feels like a laced threat. They are mocking Egyptian planes, but they have put in a voiceover, again, dropped on my old socials. So using my face to attack me in a really strange way by suggesting that they are following my every move and my every personal decision that I make, that they will be watching me. So I'm going to let you watch the video that they dropped on my socials.
You should be obsessed with traveling, not just the destination, but the experience of getting there. When you travel with us, you'll feel warm, you'll feel welcomed, and you'll feel watched. Because every seat comes with the peace of mind of knowing someone is following you with 2 planes. This is what you can expect when you fly with At Egyptian Air, we definitely never mix up our time zones, flight numbers, or flight times. We know every journey is your personal business.
I don't even get what the joke is supposed to be.
All your personal business is our business, is our motto. Egyptian Air, wherever you travel, we will follow.
And so they've colored the letters there on the text for watched, followed, we will follow. I don't even know what to say to that. Like I told you, they're unhinged. It's been going on by the
I don't
way,
understand what it's a parody of, though.
Gang stalking.
She was calling out Egyptians on what?
It's just been going on for 2 years consistently behind the scenes. Now they're just kind of gone masked down and people are seeing it in front of the scenes. Like I just am not allowed to be fired from that company. And I don't know what to really say or do about that other than just to keep publicizing that I find their behavior to be alarming. It's discomforting. And there's something about this that feels very dangerous to me. And that feels like a warning, as many people said, a threat, a laced threat, the weird devilish voice at the end, we will follow you, and then having a plane then burst.
There were allegations about Egyptian planes following Erica Kirk's plane during Charlie's assassination. Okay.
Into flames. It's not a joke. They don't mean it to be a joke at all. So yeah.
I think they're making fun of you, if that's what it is.
There you go. We'll just put that out there. Lastly, before I get to some of your comments, I just wanted to also, Mike Pompeo, former U.S. Secretary of State, Tucker had exposed that during his time at the CIA, I believe it was Mike Pompeo. Am I correct, you guys, just in my ear, that he tried to have what's his face murdered? Julian Assange. It was Pompeo, right? Okay, you fact check that before. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure Tucker had exposed that. I think it was Mike Pompeo. I will correct that momentarily if I'm wrong. But anyways, they are just openly discussing how they need to edit history books. I was correct? Yeah, he discussed options to take out Assange just to make sure we're above bar there. Anyways, he is sitting down and discussing how in the future they're just going to have to edit out of textbooks for kids that are in school the part about how they murdered tens and thousands of Palestinian women and children and innocent men because it's just not good for their aims. Here's him in his own words. Take a listen.
The next generation of young people won't remember October 7th in the same way. That's true in Israel and in America and broadly in the world. And we need to make sure 2 things. One, it's not that we don't forget. We need to make sure that the story is told properly so that when the history books write this, they don't write about the victims of Gaza, right?
What the fuck?
They can't.
And they're applauding. I can't handle this. I can't handle the world. I can't do this.
I should be a little more precise. There were victims in Gaza, right? It's true. There are civilian casualties in every war that's ever been fought.
Fuck you, cunt.
But the victims were the people of the nation state of Israel.
Fuck you.
That the aggressor was the Iranian regime in the proxy of Hamas, and we need to make sure that the history books reflect that, and that requires each of us every day to talk about it in real time with our children.
I'm sorry I'm doomering so much today. I am truly having a terrible, terrible time. I told you guys I'm coming off some psych meds, and the withdrawals are terrible, and I already am barely holding on. This stuff is really not helping.
Our grandchildren about it in a way that is serious and thoughtful and complete and moral.
I just love it. They started applauding. They were just like, yep, got to keep that part out of the textbooks about the innocent Palestinians. He's like, oh, we're on camera. Let's just, we just...
Did we already do accidentally based? Because we can do accidentally based for her talking about that shit not being cool. Okay, we already got accidentally based.
Need to make sure the focus is just on the Israelis, because that matters more to us and the CIA. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Everyone's just gone mask down, I think, is what I'd like to say about that. In conclusion, we will throw it to some of our sponsors, then I'm going to get into some of your comments. All right, you guys, there are a lot of brands that look good on the surface. And right now, when you use promo code CANDACE, so head check out. What I want to say, guys, is be optimistic, be positive. If our thoughts can translate into the future, obviously, I think what they didn't like, they saw, is that in the end we win. Of course we win. Goodness wins in the end. And
that's not how life works.
I feel sad for people that don't know that and are siding with evil.
The winners win, and then they call themselves good.
Just thinking, yeah, evil's going to win. They don't got this thing, guys. They don't got this thing anymore. The awakening is upon us, so to speak. If you'd like to support our independent work, we have new merch on the website. You can also join me in having this Conspiracy Girl mug. I don't think any of this stuff is conspiracy. I think it's just fact, and they've been editing all of our history. And now we're going to kind of learn a lot about what's been hidden, really. We also, if you'd like to buy the hard copy autographed bundle, it's now available on the shop as well. Make 'em a Sandwich and Blackout, both hand signed by me. And we also have channel
shilling grifting on the bingo card for all this. I genuinely can't tell, by the way, if she's crazy or if she's just grifting. I wish I could tell. I can't. I don't know. It's crazy enough that she might believe it, but I don't know. Could be a grift. Who knows?
In Spanish, Portuguese, and French. Links in the description below. Top comment from yesterday's episode came from Carly. Carly writes, crazy fact, my dad was stationed with Lieutenant Aquino back in '82. My dad was an MP, was investigating pentagrams on the base. Then when the child abuse cases popped up,
that's a good use of their time.
They made my dad and his partner quit investigating due to, quote, MPs don't investigate felonies. Yeah, that sounds about right to me. Everything we're learning about the military. And again, this is not the people that are not at the very top. It's always at the very top. But man, too many stories about what's going on these bases, the cover-ups, and the sense, when you go backwards, that they wanted to establish this cult of military. That's what it feels like. It's a military cult. And how can you deny
you're a Republican
that it's satanic when they just kind of let him run psychological operations? You wanted us to have a satanic psyche? It's just completely crazy. Anyway, some of the comments that are coming in for today's episode. First comment from Rachel. Grateful for the role that you are playing in humanity's awakening. Charlie knew what your purpose would be. Many have come before, but you have an army of light behind you. Stay wise, stay alert, and keep going. We are with you and this movement. Thank you so much. And it really is all of us. And like I said, as terribly awful and that as his death was, and as corrupt as it was, and how it makes us all feel spiritually sick that it was done in broad daylight with the intention of having us all watch it. If there is any silver lining in it, it is that it does seem to have catalyzed our perception. It does seem to have catalyzed us waking up globally to how evil the people are that rule over us. Docket Dakota writes, I think you knew it from the beginning. Charlie was becoming too aware of his own captivity. Reality is catching up with me, taking my inner child and fighting for custody with these responsibilities they entrusted me. You're referring to the yay power verse that Charlie sent me. Yeah, I think it was catching up with him. That is correct. And he started realizing, like, whoa, like, am I allowed to be a person outside of this thing? And their answer came back forcefully, which was no. Macy writes, appreciate your content. If they don't like you so much, why not just scrub the internet of you? Is this a planned awakening? They did. You guys remember, please. Are you new here? Last year.
This video has 1.5 million views. You are not scrubbed from the internet. Someone said earlier, one of the most popular podcasts in the country. Fuck you.
2024, rather, was a struggle. We had to really fight. That's why we ended up building the Candace Owens website, was because they knocked us. They demonetized us on YouTube. They were throttling us. I'm literally.
She deserves to be demonetized. This is ridiculous. I think they should ban her fucking channel.
And from countries. We wanted to go on tour, and so I could speak. And
I'm sure YouTube is still running ads, though, so they make money.
Banned me from a country. Again, now I'm sure they're wondering, was that helpful? Especially, they must have wondered that when we went #1 globally. But what ended up happening was their evil plans forced me to really focus on this podcast and what I wanted to do with this podcast, since I wasn't allowed to go on tour and they were trying to get me canceled successfully from speaking events and calling people up and threatening them for hosting me on stage. All of that happened in 2024. So I certainly do not think, to answer your question, Macy, that evil wants everyone to be aware of them. That's not, nope. Satan loves the dark, okay? They love the dark. They hate light. Alyssa writes, Kathy O'Brien would be a powerful interview. You have a platform to give her a stronger voice. I just finished her book, Transformation of America. Yes, I've heard about Kathy O'Brien. There are so many people that I could speak to. I know about Project Monarch. We've spoken about it on this show as being the precursor to what the Nazis did here, which was all about traumatizing children. Moderator Marzi writes, a lot of drama involving ICE. I wanted to let you know that some of them get training and recruitment from Israel, directly from the IDF. This potentially means Israeli citizens in the USA deporting people using federal authority for criticizing Israel. I do not like the military direction that the Trump administration is taking. I will say that right off the bat. Once I realized that he does not have his own thoughts and he is not controlling anything, and that the Zionists are controlling his entire cabinet, no. I don't like what they're doing in Israel. Why would I want Zionists to have control, which they already have since they killed JFK, of our military today, and then cheer them on taking to the streets? Again, that feels like they're trying to go, well, you're
the thinly veiled anti-Semitism.
MAGA, you like Trump, so accept.
Like, absolutely, it's fine to criticize Israel. Fuck Israel. This feels like it's going deeper than just an Israel thing, the way she's talking about it.
And it's like, well, Trump's not acting MAGA. Trump is acting never Trump. So I've always been never Trump. So I can't support this. I can't support anything that he's doing. I'm certainly not cheering it on. But also, I've already retired from politics. Like I told you, I kind of hate everybody. And I think that's good. I think that means I've become reasonable now that I hate both sides and realize that at the top, it's the same evil by a different name. Anderson writes, what the heck? Sleep paralysis is crazy. The Hat Man, Shadow Man, and feeling like someone is on your chest. I was in Gate as a kid. The pink drink. Yes, they gave me that. Did you guys all have... I need to look at the chat right now. Were you guys all forced to literally drink fluoride? I know that sounds crazy now that we know what it does, that it burns your pineal.
Fluoride is fine.
Glands, but were you guys all forced to do that in class? Like take a shot of fluoride, the pink.
I don't know what the fuck she's talking about with
drink,
that.
The binaural sounds, and I have narcolepsy.
Binaural sounds?
Have in common is REM sleep. Yeah, I think they were testing us in more ways than possible. In fact, my cousin thinks that even when they make us take hearing tests, that they're actually doing frequency tests. And if certain kids can hear certain frequencies, they mark them. When she told me that, I was like, no, not another conspiracy that I instantly believe.
Oh my God, she admitted. She's not even thinking about it. She's just like, yeah, that sounds good. That's true.
Drake the Wolf writes, do you ever feel like the feds are taking notes every time their story gets picked apart so that the same mistakes aren't made in the future? Or am I giving them too much credit for their... I think the cat's out of the bag, so to speak. It's out of the bag. They were doing really good for a long time. 60s was their golden decade. But I don't know, they became the magicians that believe in their own magic, and they believed in their own power, and they underestimated the power of the illusion. So it was really us believing in them that mattered more than the power that they had amassed while we believed in them. That's just my perspective. Benny writes, Fuentes on his show last night that we need to stop talking about pedos in relation to Epstein. He called the teen girls, some that are 13 and 14, barely legal. being upset about it makes you a libtard. The only problem was him being an Israel spy. I don't watch Nick Fuentes. I obviously, as soon as I had...
Wait, did they just say Nick Fuentes was an Israel spy? Nick Fuentes is a raging Nazi.
...him here, and then he flipped.
He hates Israel.
Somebody gave him instructions and then looked into him even slightly. It was the most obvious thing to me in the entire world. He's a federal informant. So, yeah. I don't even, it doesn't even hit. I just don't care. But I also don't care. People watch him and they love him. So it doesn't shock me, obviously, that he was very much on the Charlie Kirk was totally taken out by a 30-06 by one person load shooter on the rooftop, because that makes sense. Those were the federal talking points. Lex writes, same people who hate Candace love Stranger Things. Same government, just fake and gay. I've not watched Stranger Things, but I heard is it good? I don't know. You guys let me know. Anyway, we unpacked a lot today. I just love that we were able to open another layer of this. And like I said, it's something that I think about often.
Just a Peach says, fluoride rinse at the dentist was sometimes pink. It's now a paste that's easier to use.
Now reading messages.
Oh, you were saying Epstein was Israeli spy? Gotcha.
Seems so prophetic. It's like, well, how did he know? Was he dreaming these things? Yes. He was repeatedly having these recurring dreams about how he would die and how it had to happen. The same way that I was having recurring dreams about the fact that he was betrayed. And we will jump more into that narrative tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Christ. All right, here's an episode after Erica Kirk was talking about conspiracy theorists need to stop.
Okay, you guys. Now, I wasn't sure about Erica. I was waiting, kind of a situation for her to be in, obviously, having lost her husband, becoming the CEO and the chairman of a company. It's just a lot of transition, and it's nice to wait for more information before you prejudge or just assume, make an assumption about somebody, and it maybe is not based in reality. Well, we are getting a lot more of Erica Kirk this week. I'll tell you that, because
Jesse Courteous, thanks for gifting 5 memberships on YouTube.
She has been doing the rounds in the media really over the last couple of weeks, and she just gave an interview live with Harris Faulkner on Fox News, where she finally addressed the quote-unquote conspiracy theories. And I have to say this because it's true, but it completely missed the mark. For me, I am sorry, it just has. But the good news is that she is now unmurkying the water in terms of her intentions with this massive political organization. That's good news, truly, because we knew Charlie, and now we are getting an opportunity to know Erica. Plus, later on in the show, it's Knives Out for Tucker Carlson, as always.
Okay. I think I need to play the one where she talks about how much she's sus of Erica instead, because I think that's more interesting. Let's play that one.
All right, you guys, happy Tuesday. I survived.
Swell Entertainment, thanks for raiding. Today's an interesting day to do so. Make sure you check out Swell Entertainment here on Twitch. I look at conspiracy theorists and conspiracy theories and talk about why they're not true and why people believe in them. And today we're looking at the world of Candace Owens, who has gone completely off her goddamn rocker since Charlie Kirk died. She was just talking about time machines. So maybe stick around. If you don't, I understand. It's pretty intense, but it's weird, that's for sure.
Survived the ice storm. I'm sorry that we were down yesterday. We had no internet, but we are going to make up for it with a...
Yeah, she was claiming that the government has a machine that lets them see into the future, and that they knew Charlie Kirk was going to die, and that Charlie Kirk might have been a time traveler.
A show this Friday. Anyway, what do I have for you today? You guys already know that many people are upset with me. And by many people, I mean the mainstream media and all of their cronies. They're upset for a lot of reasons. Foremost, because I mentioned the idea that Charlie's life may have been the Truman Show. How dare I? Well,
oh, God, yeah, she thinks that Charlie Kirk was being, like, controlled by government agencies his whole life secretly, and she thinks he went to an X-Man school because lights would turn off when he was jogging? He has X-Man powers.
It's about to get a little...
Had X-Man powers? I don't know.
More weird when I tell you something else that we have learned about the origins of the X-Men school that he went to in his...
See?
Youth. I probably should have named the thumbnail X-Men Origins. Missed opportunity. Also,
I'm going to skip the Black's Law Dictionary request today.
So we have, and they are seemingly very upset that we are going to share with you this conference call that I promised you. Erica installed as the new CEO and chairman. She headed up this conference call about 12 days after Charlie was assassinated, just after the memorial event. And I'm going to allow you guys to listen to it to see how you feel about it.
Hydrate.
Because I definitely feel a thing about it. What that thing is, I don't know. Welcome back to Candace. Okay,
his neck doing that was his power. You can only do it once, though.
Before we dive in, a quick thank you to Nimi Skincare for supporting the show. New year, new skin, same values. I appreciate that Nimi focuses on
Jade Monkey, what do you want me to wear for the hats off?
Quality, simplicity, and skincare that's made right here in the USA without chasing trends. You can visit Nimi Skincare, NIMIskincare.com today.
Pick.
Okay. So last week, I said to you guys that in the near future, we are going to do maybe 2 episodes, could be a 3-part series on
Well, that fucks up my white balance. It's fine, though.
Erica Kirk's past. A few people online were very upset about that instantly. Oh, how dare you? How could you look into anything involving Erica Kirk? Let me explain to you guys what's happening here. You're probably wondering what it is that we are doing. So I'm old. I'm 36 years old. Back in my day, there used to be this thing known as journalism, basic journalism. It existed. I know it seems very far off, but it would be considered probably back in my day, literal insanity to allow someone to take over the reins of an organization that quite literally relies on the goodwill of the public, because it's a charitable organization, which happened to have raised over $250 million following the assassination of its founder. And then apparently nobody's interested in doing a basic profile piece on the new chairman and CEO that took over. Like that's actually, that makes no sense. And so that's what we are committing ourselves to. We are doing a couple of episodes to separate fact from fiction when it comes to the background of Erica Kirk, because the public deserves to know. And like I said, it's basic journalism. This entire idea that, well, Charlie wanted this, that just would fly probably actually nowhere in the world, not even in the old world, not even under monarchy rule in the 11th century. In England, would that work? You can't just say, oh, well, that was his missus. That was his queen consort, and hand her a kingdom. Even under that model, it would be Charlie's son that would inherit Turning Point USA. So,
oh, is it a weird, like, I don't like Erica Kirk either. Again, I talked about this earlier. She's clearly cynical and didn't give a fuck about her husband. But, like, is this just a sexism thing? You just don't think a woman can handle the organization?
Stop doing that. Stop saying that.
Their children are like children. They're not old enough to take over the organization if that's what you want. They're like toddlers.
That doesn't make any sense. The public is not biting. I am not biting. And to be clear, the more time that goes on, the more that we are seeing the general direction that this company is taking under her stewardship, the less we're liking. The general public doesn't like it. I don't like it. And especially the recent bout of paranoia where we had a bunch of employees who factually worked 20-hour days. That fact, by the way, you are about to hear Erica confirm herself. Those employees were then fired without even being given a clear reason as to why.
Oh my God, Republicans firing people and not caring about how it affects them. That never happens. They care so deeply about workers.
That doesn't exactly match what we were told as the public. We were told that they're a family. How dare anybody question anybody ever in the family? Followed immediately, almost seemingly in the new year, by get out. We're just moving in a different direction. Knock, knock, we're at your door. You fired, and you better hand me your computer or else. We just want to know what happened here. Anyway, being a 501c3 company, being a charity, becoming a charitable organization makes you...
The fact that Turning Point is a charity makes me sick.
Of course, accountable.
It's a propaganda network.
The public.
They literally exist to spread propaganda to children.
They are allowed to ask questions, even if you want to send out a bunch of cease and desist letters. And thanks to this recent string of misguided firings, that's putting it mildly, we did happen to get our hands on an audio recording of a corporate-wide Zoom call, which took place pretty immediately following Charlie's memorial. So for clarity,
Screaming at the radio, thanks for 53 months with Prime.
This call took place on Monday, September 22nd. So this is 11 days.
Okay, it was 11, not 6
weeks after her husband was publicly assassinated in front of the entire world. It's important to remember that. It's also less than 48 hours, about 48 hours after his private Catholic funeral mass, which the public was not privy to. But top paying donors were. That's also odd. We'll save that for another day. I just think that you should know that. I want to plug that into our master timeline, which I know I keep promising you I'm going to publish. I will. So we know on September 10th, Charlie is assassinated.
There are 2 videos. One's from 6 days. Gotcha.
Bottom of the timeline. On the 18th, this, by the way, strikes me as odd in the retrospect as I was working on these couple of episodes about Erica. On the 18th, there's 8 days after the assassination, she gave an in-person interview with the New York Times at her and Charlie's condo. Okay. Now, regarding the New York Times profile piece, I was totally in a cloud of grief by myself when all of that went down. Okay, you remember I had to go away to Wyoming just to breathe, to process, to get closer to accepting that it was real. I went away for 2 weeks. I didn't really catch the fact that it was an in-person meeting until later. 8 days after his public assassination, she sits down for a piece with the publication that hated Charlie the entire time he was alive. New York Times was constantly writing hit pieces about Charlie Kirk or pieces that just...
That's because Charlie Kirk was a shitty human being.
...were not kind or favorable to Charlie Kirk. So it's an interesting decision. And reading the article or rereading, because somebody said you should actually go back and revisit everything that transpired.
I was accepting reality coming along. Yeah, I don't think the fresh air helped too much.
In the days after.
Maybe there was a gas leak at her Wyoming home.
And you kind of have new eyes, and that's very true. But in reading that article in retrospect, something that I am particularly struck by is the fact that she describes suddenly being forced into the single mother position as the quote unquote least traumatizing thing. Becoming a single mother suddenly, 8 days later, she describes that as the least traumatizing thing. Again, that's an exact quotation. I'll read it. You can see it. They're going into this, they're speaking about Trump's energy and his tone toward her on phone calls. And it reads, quote, from her, the president's tone, she said, was soft and embracing. I could tell he wanted to hug me. Others have responded in the same manner to Ms.
As we all know, Trump is known for his very kindly, warm attitude.
Kirk, now left to care for a 3-year-old daughter and a 1-year-old son. That new life, Ms. Kirk said, quote, is actually the least traumatizing thing for me. So,
yeah, I think that's just her trying to rhetorically focus on, like, motherhood as a thing. You gotta remember that Turning Point USA is this, like, super right-wing organization that promotes women staying at home and just making white babies. So she can't say, oh, motherhood's such a burden. Instead, she's rhetorically being like, no, I love being a mother to my children. You know what I mean?
Since she herself has been raised by her mother after their parents divorced when she was young. And we're just supposed to pretend that that's completely normal or whatever. I would figure maybe the least traumatizing bit would be something more mundane, maybe along the lines, if this was a thing, if Charlie constantly filled up her gas tank and someone was like, well, who's going to fill up your gas tank? She might reply, that's actually the least traumatizing thing. I don't even care about that. That's just me filling up my car. That would be like the least traumatizing thing. Becoming a single mother after your husband is horrifically assassinated, realizing that your children are going to grow up without a father who toured the world and spoke about the importance of fatherhood and relayed the...
Sounds like he wasn't around that often anyway, then, if he was traveling all the time.
The statistics.
Maybe it's not that big of a difference. Also, they're rich. They're rich. I'm not saying that people don't mourn and stuff when they're rich and they become single parents. I'm just saying there's not like a financial burden on her. She can have nannies and stuff if she needs help, which she obviously is going to need to because she's trying to go out and do the Charlie Kirk thing now.
Pertaining to the youth that grow up.
Like, I don't think practically it's going to make much of a difference to her.
Without their fathers in the home, I would describe that as very traumatizing. I think across the board, that's a traumatizing thing, not the least traumatizing thing by any stretch of an imagination. Anyway, we are now in season 7, episode 4 of Everybody Grieves Differently, but that's weird. Now, getting to this corporate call again, can we just go back if you want to throw in that schedule again? Sorry, yeah, okay, great. So we have this on the 10th, he's assassinated. On the 18th, it's that in-person interview with the New York Times. On the 20th, we have the funeral mass, which is held at a church at 11 a.m. On the 21st is the public memorial event that is held at State Farm Stadium. And on the 22nd, which I had not mentioned before, I've been building this timeline in the background, there's a private dinner. Not going to mention what restaurant it's at, but the McCoys are there, Elizabeth, Mikey, Erica, and they're in joyous spirits is exactly what the email said of someone who was there. They were in joyous spirits. Okay, just want to get that. I think a lot of this, when you hear this call that I'm about to play for you, I'm not trying to color your opinion, but I am going to give you mine because it's my podcast. I'm allowed to do it.
I'm not trying to color your opinion, but
I do want to remind you that Charlie has not been dead for 2 weeks. That's where you have to go back to. Not even 2 weeks after Charlie was publicly assassinated. Not a normal, he didn't, we had to watch this. We had to visually watch this. Now, the entirety of this call, which we're not going to play, is 15 minutes long. I'm going to figure out how to just drop it on my X feed. But I want to make sure that we properly and fairly contextualize it. So we're not being choosy. We're not cutting this for drama. The obvious point of this call to set this up is to introduce Erica. She's the new leader. Not even introducing, she's just heading up this call, but obviously she's going to be at the helm of this. So they're getting to know her. And she does begin the call by being thankful to the entire Turning Point USA team for their work at the memorial event. So let's take a listen.
Hi, everybody. I still love all these emoji Zoom things.
This makes her look so bad. I heard this like when this came out, whenever this was 3 days ago. This does not look good for Erica Kirk at all. It makes her genuinely seem like she didn't care a lick about her husband. Terrible.
Wow. I don't even know where to begin. The fact that we were able to pull off an event of a century, like, it's just insane.
The event of the century. She's talking about her husband's funeral.
Had over 275,000 people that attended, and stadium overflow, Westgate, insane, you guys. And then you have, was it 100 million? You guys that heard the gospel and all about Charlie and all about everything that you guys do, and the hard work of Turning Point USA is insane. We had thousands that were registered to vote. I think we're at like over 200,000 for merch sales. Don't quote.
Aren't you so excited right after your partner dies about all the merch sales? She's a monster. She's so bad.
Me on that, 'cause I think
like, I want to point this out again. I don't think there's any conspiracy to be had here. I think the guy that shot Charlie Kirk was the guy that they caught. Candace is going to use this to try and make it seem like Charlie's wife, Erica Kirk, had something to do with the death. And I don't think that's the case. I just think she's a cynical person that didn't care for her husband at all and is using this opportunity to enrich herself and give herself clout. But man, she's making it real easy for Candace to come up with a narrative where she's involved. You cannot sound this, like, I don't even know what to call it about your husband's death, and then be surprised when a crazy conspiracy theorist that's obsessed with you is going to conspiracy theory.
It just keeps like bumping up like crazy, but I just wanted to say a huge thank you to the events team, the development team, the graphic design team, the production team. It's just phenomenal. Their incredible work leading into the memorial. And honestly, a lot of the staff that worked on the memorial, they had 20-hour days for a week during the time of us grieving the loss of my husband. And honestly,
oh, you sound like you're taking it pretty well.
I know several staff that didn't even sleep. Again, you guys are breathing angels, and I'm so grateful for all of you. And obviously a huge thank you to the Mosaic team. VI, you guys are 10 out of 10. Like we have the most incredible team. We just do. And you guys know that, and you guys are all a part of that. And I am so thankful. And if you do have a moment and you run into any of those staff members that you know had a role in this, and you know that they put a lot of their time and effort into it, just say thank you. There's something really special to be seen in moments like this, and it's not easy. I'm speaking from experience. I'm right in the trenches with you guys. And so the fact that you just, a simple thank you. I don't care if any of you have beef with each other from the past or have any issues with someone said something about this or that. Like, if you guys have any of that, please put it to rest. My husband's dead. Like, I'm not trying to be morbid, but he's dead. And it puts life into perspective of how short life is and relationships, and God puts people in your life for a reason, and it teaches you a lesson, it teaches them a lesson. So if you are going through a time where, just lay it to rest, and we are moving forward, Turning Point USA 2.0 with Charlie in our hearts, and that's what he would want.
I know that Candace is about to do some crazy conspiracy shit, but damn, that call is damning. That looks so bad on her. That looks terrible.
Okay, so
another video came out of a different call also, which we might take a look at today, because why not?
Just looking at the chat here, and you guys are responding live.
Oh, Max Power with a $25 tip says, thank you for your show and your awesome personality. I hope you can find some respite in your days off, and we look forward to your return. Yeah, I'm finally getting my 3 days off starting tomorrow, so hopefully that'll go well. And on the 2nd, the middle of my 3 days off, is my consultation for bottom surgery, so that's nice. Hopefully that goes well.
In the way that I
already got my letter of support ready, so that's good.
Felt live listening to this. It is the general tone that is off-putting. It's the laughter that is off-putting. It's, again, we are not even 2 weeks after watching your husband be assassinated. We're talking about numbers and metrics that have been hit. And my husband's dead, not to be morbid. That is a sentence that and this was not my husband, and I had no sort of the type of relationship that she had.
Nemesaur, thank you so much for gifting 25 tier 1 subs. You've been so generous. You always are, but this month especially you have been. Thank you, Nemesaur.
With him that I was able to utter. Least of all, I mean, that's moving pretty quickly to the acceptance phase.
And Stone Corbell, thanks for gifting 10 tier 1 subs. Wow.
Now, we know everybody grieves differently. In my imagination,
we killed this month's sub goal, by the way.
I just thought,
Juggle command.
She would be more upset. And I want to be clear, the overall mood of this call is extraordinarily upbeat. It's extraordinarily happy. But of course, as the CEO and chairman, she does have to address the elephant in the room, the morbid elephant in the room, if you will, because it's an obligation. You have a new CEO. The employees are working 20-hour days, but also their founder, Charlie, was publicly assassinated less than 2 weeks ago. You got to address that, and you're going to hear her address that.
Sweet Lily Love with 200 bits says, have the rest of my bits. Thank you. And we are 68% to level 7 on a hype train. Already just a crazy hype train. Thank you.
By recapping to them that throughout these long working days...
Simply J.O., thanks for following.
Employees were provided with ample resources while they were working. Take a listen.
I'm just grateful that
And Epic MILF Machine,
while
thanks for
things were
following.
still in motion and moving around, that we had our leadership teams provide for you counselors, pastors. I heard there were therapy dogs. Slightly jealous that I didn't get to have any moment with a therapy dog. Breakfast. I was really adamant about making sure that we paid for your flights for your spouses to be there. That was something on my heart. You don't want to grieve alone. No one's supposed to grieve alone. It's not healthy. But I just think it's a beautiful honor that all of these benefits were made for the community to grieve and remember Charlie. And I really hope you took advantage of those in a healthy way when they were provided, because it's meant to be for everyone, for healing. Grief comes in waves. Some days are going to be tougher than others, but take it as it comes. And that's why you have your Turning Point family, and just lean on them and lean on other people in your life that will help you and pour into you and pray with you to get you through it. I say that, though, that if you do need more time to grieve, please continue to use Turning Point USA's network of counselors.
Unstable Deadbeat, thanks for gifting 5 tier 1 subs and getting us over level 7.
We have pastors. I mean, there are so many.
You feel like she has a charisma void. When she's on, she has like a blank, she has vacuous charisma. Like, she can get on stage and she can talk, but there's nothing there. But that works for certain contexts. And Turning Point USA's message has always been kind of vacuous and artificial anyway. So I don't think it doesn't match the organization.
Resources for you. If you do need additional time off, please talk to your director about using paid time off for that. And again, it's not easy, but again, grief is hard. Otherwise,
doesn't sound
honestly,
like it.
Turning Point USA and Turning Point Action, full steam ahead, you guys. Charlie would want us to get back to work, and that's what we're doing, and that's what we did with the memorial. And I'm so honored and proud of each and every one of you, because that's what we're going to do in his honor and in his name. We have so much to do, which is exciting. Charlie in heaven is like, you guys thought you had a busy schedule then, just you wait. And he's doing some awesome things with Jesus in heaven right now, but there's so much.
Oh, that disgusts me. That disgusts me on a visceral level.
Work to be done. I mean,
my dead husband's hanging out with Jesus. Time to do some overtime.
Since his assassination, we have 100,000 chapter requests. We have 300,000 new donors. That is a blessing in itself. Again, not normal. All God. I think we have 50,000 plus hat orders to fulfill. I mean, I'm saying
gotta talk about those hat orders,
because it puts into perspective that we're not just sitting and thinking and looking at the wall being like, what do we do? Like that, there is so much to do. You have over 20,000 AmFest registrations.
There's a lot happening there, and none of it is what I would be expecting to happen there. So basically what the employees said to me was that they got onto this call and everyone's exhausted, everyone's been working, they pull off this massive memorial. And then there's kind of this approach where it's like, well, if you guys need paid time off, like Charlie's in heaven dancing, wanting you to work harder. He's just up there like, you better work, but you can use the paid time off that you have earned, by the way, if you need to grieve more. But imagine you're the employee and you're like, okay, well, this is his wife saying this. So am I weird? Would I be like, I would be pretty weird if I needed to take time off and his wife is saying she's full steam ahead. That's the mentality that they had. Like, how are we supposed, like, are we weird for wanting to grieve? Is that not the vibe? How can we take paid time off when Erica, his wife, is saying full steam ahead? It's very strange. It is even kind of using this idea of Charlie being in heaven, looking down, and the laughter.
When's this video from? 3 days ago.
I don't know. I feel like the rest of you. I feel uncomfortable. And of course, now what we're going to listen to is her pivot to the future vision, because that's what the bulk of this is about. And it's going to consist of the notebooks that I keep telling you the public is never going to see. Apparently, what I gather from this is that Charlie presented to the staff a vision for 2025, but Erica is going to say that
Empty in between 16. Thanks for following.
a vision beyond that, all the way to 2030. And there's a project 2030. And then she's going to kind of want to say that she's happy, but then catch herself realizing that that would be kind of weird to say that she's happy. Take a listen.
The prophetic mind of my husband was that he always planned for the future. You guys are obviously aware of like Vision 2025, but Charlie was also...
Why is she talking about Charlie? Isn't this old news? Oh, this is her whole thing now. She's obsessed with Charlie Kirk's death, and she's doing conspiracy theories about it constantly.
Working on Vision
20... Like, it's been this and claiming that Macron's wife is secretly his dad for the past, like, 4 or 5 months. She's on these 2 topics, and that's it.
2030 in the weeks leading up to September 10th, and he was working really closely with Justin, and that's why Justin had been appointed the role of COO, because he was literally, I remember...
Yeah, the wife-father thing. It's a whole thing. Basically, Macron's wife is much older than him, but Candace has taken this to be a whole thing where she thinks his dad transitioned to a woman and then married the son. There's like she did like a 4-part series on this, and the episodes are like an hour long each.
Phone calls.
As a trans person, I find... Sorry.
It would be 10
As a trans person, I find transvestigation to be pretty hilarious. Offensive and hurtful, but, you know, it's objectively so absurd you kind of have to laugh at it.
O'clock at night, and him and Justin would just be talking about the plans. I was aware of the plans. I have his journals that are aware of the plans. Like, there is no confusion of what's to come. And I want to give you guys that reassurance that it's full steam ahead, and the board and I are working with Justin, and...
Yeah, the Macrons are suing her. She claimed that they were sending assassins for her, which of course isn't true.
Executive leadership teams to make sure that all of those plans come into effect 2030 and beyond. But I, again, am so grateful for all of you. I'm so proud of all of you. You honor my husband so well. All of you do. And it's weird to say I'm excited. I really hesitate saying that. It's really hard for me to say that.
Doesn't sound that hard for you.
It's a really weird thing to say. But I think it comes from a space of peace, knowing that God's using this, and we're humbly witnessing the gospel in real time.
I don't know what to say. She doesn't want to say she's happy. I don't want to say I'm happy, but where it comes from, let me explain the happiness that I feel. It comes from peace, because we're witnessing the gospel in real time. All of this makes my skin crawl. It genuinely makes my skin crawl. I'm going to go ahead and say that. You can go find your commentator who's going to tell you everybody grieves differently. Nope, that is less than 2 weeks after Charlie was publicly assassinated. That doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't feel right to, I would say, the majority of people, or that doesn't feel right. Knowing that they're joyous at dinners. And again, this is when people who did not know Charlie could not stop crying and were sending me emails, who've never met Charlie.
You can be privately assassinated. What's his name? Rasputin. He was assassinated privately.
Turning Point USA was, because they watched his assassination, could not stop crying and pull themselves together. That is not the emotion that we're getting there. Like I said, the entire call is upbeat, and the portions where we are even speaking about grief, it feels like an obligation. Like, you know, hey, you got the dogs. And what Charlie wants is for you to work now. And that is how the employees that I've spoken to who were on that call, that's how they felt. My assumption, by the way, why I'm addressing this now is because my assumption, watching everything that's gone on, my assumption was that she really was trying to figure things out. I assumed in the silence, right? She wasn't doing interviews then. I assumed she couldn't get out of bed. I assumed that she couldn't pick her head up. And I felt that people were being unfair in judging outfits and in judging whether or not they liked how her hair was done. I said, okay, she's speaking at the memorial. We expect her to speak at the memorial event. I felt the public was being unfair. Now that we're kind of getting more on the inside of the organization, the now fired employees are telling me, no, it was quite the opposite. She was in the office every day with Stacey Sheridan, running around with Stacey Sheridan, taking phone calls with Stacey Sheridan. That's like the head of the fundraising for Turning Point USA. So what I had imagined in my head was happening simply was not so.
You're thinking all these people are cold-blooded sharks. Oh yeah, people at this like level of like Republican whatever you want to call it, I can't imagine they have a human emotion between them. They're truly scary people.
Something is not right. That's what I would like to say. That call, the timing, the energy of that call does not feel right to me. This, I don't know what's happening, but I think we are inching closer to figuring out what's going on. That's for sure. And we will have more for you in the coming weeks. It also led me to another stunning discovery that we have made in large part thanks to internet sleuths. There was a lot of media.
Oh, this is a big thing on her show too. She invites the audience to quote investigate with her. And this falls into the same category of like QAnon. QAnon got really popular in part because there was a participatory aspect. It asked you to help find the meaning in the Q drops. And she's been doing this thing on the show where she's providing videos or telling people to go on TikTok, look at videos of the assassination, and try and investigate for her and send her tips. So she not only has an audience that's very, like, engaged in what she has to say, but she's having them go and try and do their own investigation, air quote, which is just basically them watching the videos and pointing out random people they don't know what they're doing. It's really bad because it's effective. It's effective in building an audience that keeps tuning in because they're not just spectators. They feel like they're a part of the movement. It really motivates people. So that's scary. That's very scary that she's engaging her audience in that way.
Panicking when we discussed Project Looking Glass. We discussed the fact that Charlie was indeed a gifted child who went to a literal children's school for the gifted. I told you guys also that...
Again, that's not that weird. It's like her only frame of reference for schools for the gifted is X-Man. She doesn't understand those are just an actual thing for students that test high or whatever.
Street lights used to go out when he ran.
Yeah, we can do your own research on the bingo card.
And there's a whole term for that. Apparently, a lot of people go through that. We saw that in the comment section. Now, what does it all mean? On my episode, I posited that the military was keeping its eye on quote-unquote gate children, gifted children, by different names, but, terming it more broadly, children that go through the GATE program. That Charlie's life may have therefore been a literal Truman Show once they realized that he was extraordinarily gifted. So let me remind you that when Charlie was having these visions about his death back in 2018, he specifically told me that he knew from the moment that he began Turning Point USA that he was going to die young. I'm going to re-show you this text message again so you can see it. Literally, he writes, since the beginning of Turning Point USA, I knew in my gut that I might get wiped out at any time. I cannot explain it, but I dream about it all the time, like all the time. Not really afraid of it, but I'm just telling you what I know to be true. I'm not sure I'm going to live, begins with, I'm not sure I'm going to live to see the end of this revolution. But interesting that he's...
Ew, calling his political movement a revolution makes me want to throw up. Orion Cooper with the $2 super chat says, I went to school for the gifted. Ain't that odd?
Says, since the beginning of Turning Point USA, we should probably therefore go back to the founding story of Turning Point USA. The story the public knows, and the story that I was told, is that Charlie was this teenager, didn't get into West Point. Anyway, he's speaking at a conference where a man named Bill Montgomery happened to be...
He misspelled revulsion.
...in attendance. He has since passed. I met Bill Montgomery. He's very kind to me. And my point in bringing this up is not to throw any shade on him, but because I'm now interested in this origin story. Anyways, he's in attendance. He's absolutely floored at Benedictine University. When Charlie speaks, he immediately knew that he was sort of looking at a future president. This is an article, I think it was done in the...
The fact that they keep trying to say that Charlie would have been president is so wild to me. He was not famous outside of very online political people. Charlie Kirk was never going to be the president. Fenekagami, thanks for 49 months.
Atlantic back in, it doesn't matter what year. Anyways, it reads in the Atlantic, Montgomery was
certainly not now
at Benedictine University in western Chicago suburb of Lisle, Illinois, for the college's Youth Government Day in May of 2012. The slate of speakers put the kids to sleep, he told the National Journal. But when Kirk took the floor, the energy in the room completely changed. The kids weren't sleeping anymore, and their attention was wrapped on Kirk. Inspired, Montgomery went up to him after his speech and told him, as only a man 50 years senior can say, that he needed to delay college to pursue a higher calling. Quote, "I don't know you," Montgomery recalled saying, "but you need to start an organization to reach out to young